It is April 13th, 2021. I am your host, Carter Ring, and this is the Ringers Podcast, coming at you here on a Tuesday afternoon with episode 70 here on the Ringers Podcast. We are almost 2 weeks away from the NFL Draft. So excited for that. Going to be live here on the Ringers Podcast on that. But I wanted to get into a discussion today, and it's kind of funny to me, honestly. It's been floating around the news waves, today, and, we heard the news yesterday. I actually did an episode yesterday when Julian Edelman was released by the Patriots. I'm like, oh yeah, he's going to Tampa Bay. But then, an hour later, he announced his retirement. So Julian Edelman decided to retire at age 35. He had some knee injuries, played a long career in the NFL with the Patriots. And immediately the questions came out. Is Julian Edelman a Hall of Famer? Is he going to the Hall of Fame? No, he's not going to the Hall of Fame. It's just ludicrous. And it's obviously Patriot fans' bias. It's the Patriot way, playing with Brady and all that. He's not a Hall of Famer, right? So Edelman, he listen, and I hate to do this. I really do, because the guy just retired yesterday, and the first question that comes out, of course, is he a Hall of Famer, right? He's not a Hall of Famer. He won a Super Bowl MVP in 2018 in a game that was, both teams were offensively inept. They couldn't score, Rams and Patriots in 2019 Super Bowl. He won because he had, I think 7 grabs for 100 and some yards. That was it. They scored a last-second touchdown with James White or Sony Michel up the middle. It was the most boring Super Bowl of all time, and they just so happened to hand the MVP to Julian Edelman. Okay, right? He won 3 Super Bowls. He had a miraculous catch in the 2016 game against Atlanta, the famous comeback, right? 25-point deficit, they come back and win it. He had one of the luckiest catches of all time. It was a sweet catch, right? And he's had, 3 Super Bowls, postseason success. He's been an outstanding postseason performer. But look at his regular season stats. They're not even close to Canton, Ohio, right? Not even close. 620 catches and 6,822 yards. Heinz Ward from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has over 1,000 catches and 1,200 yards, and he's still having a hard time getting in Canton. Heinz Ward, more physically gifted. Just by the eye test, you can tell that guy's better than Julian Edelman at football, right? And Heinz Ward's not even in the Super Bowl. He also won a Super Bowl MVP. And he's having a hard time. He's a finalist. Or a nominee, something like that. He's not even guaranteed to get in this year. He could, but it's not guaranteed, right? So, listen, Patriot fans especially, Julian Edelman, if you want to have a Ring of Honor, I know the Cowboys only have that thing called the Ring of Honor, but a Patriot Ring of Honor, let's say. Absolutely no doubt he's a Patriot Ring of Honor player. He's part of the Patriot way. He's one of the better players in that franchise ever. But miss me with the Hall of Fame talk. He's not a Hall of Famer. If it took Drew Pearson that long to get into the Hall of Fame, or Heinz Ward, or even Terrell Owens, come on. He's not a Hall of Fame player, right? And again, people are going to argue, well, he's second to Jerry Rice in postseason yards and catches, right? Who was his quarterback? Tom Brady, right? He was in a system where it was slot heaven. Wes Welker, Danny Amendola, Chris Hogan, Julian Edelman, right? Josh McDaniels and Belichick. This system, it's slot university, right? Now, Edelman was a good player. He was. He made his own. But you're going to say, well, Julian Edelman, he had to play behind Wes Welker for the first 4 or 5 years of his career. And what does that mean? If he was better than Wes Welker, he would have been on the field. Stop it. He was a quarterback in college, right? And like I said, I don't like to do this. I like Julian Edelman. He was a hell of a football player. I loved his tenacity, his guts. The guy's just willingness to win. He was a tremendous guy to watch. I was like, God, I want that guy on my team. He just laid it all on the line, right? But stop with this Hall of Fame talk. He's not a Hall of Fame football player. He's not. There's a reason why Wes Welker played over him in his early. He was an afterthought, right? Amendola, Tom Brady made Danny Amendola look like the best slot receiver a couple of years. Chris Hogan, he had games where you were like, Chris Hogan's a stud. Where is he now, golfing? I mean, dude, come on. This is ridiculous. Awesome career, clutch player in big moments, and an all-time great Patriot. But we got to stop with the narrative. He's not a Hall of Famer, right? So, again, Heinz Ward's having a hard time getting in. Ward had a better career. He was a more prolific player, right? So I just think it's nonsense, and again, Julian Edelman had a hell of a career, but he's not a Hall of Fame player. When you look at this, and you look at it in the totality of it, Julian Edelman benefited from playing in that slot position with Tom Brady. That system is made to make slots look amazing, right? I bet Nelson Agholor this year is going to look really good in the slot with Cam Newton and Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick. Yes, I think he will. Now, I don't know if he'll be as good as Amendola and Edelman and those guys and Welker, but come on, it's he benefited from a system, right? And he made the most of it. He was a good slot receiver for a long time in that Brady role, right? For him. And teams, here's the thing, when they were playing the Patriots, defensive coordinators, they knew about Julian Edelman, of course, right? This is their security blanket. Brady's comfortable. They'll find ways to get him open in the zone or whatever. Depends if they're playing a zone defense or man-to-man, whatever, right? Cover one. Got to keep an eye on Edelman. But he's not a guy that defensive coordinators couldn't sleep at night. He wasn't keeping defensive coordinators up at night. No, he wasn't Randy Moss or Jerry Rice or, like, come on, Julio Jones. No way. He's just a guy that, hey, we got to respect him, right? Brady likes him. Got to keep an eye on him. That's all he was. That's why he's not going to Canton. Look at his regular season stats. Are you kidding me? 156 all-time in wide receiver stats. He's behind Odell Beckham Jr. Odell's going to blow him away. Jarvis Landry's already got over 7,000 yards. OBJ hasn't even played football in a year. You could make the case OBJ's going to the Hall of Fame then. If we're going to put Julian Edelman, him and Jarvis Landry, OBJ, they're going to the Hall of Fame. They haven't won a lick in the postseason, right? So we can't just crown Julian Edelman going to Canton because he's got some rings. He played with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, okay? Chris Hogan has those rings too. Should we put him in Canton, right? Now Patriot fans and Julian Edelman fans are going to say, you got that Super Bowl MVP. Why isn't Heinz Ward in the Hall of Fame then? So he's a very good football player, a smart one. Defensive coordinators, like I said, they knew Julian Edelman's name. Come on. They were never doubling Julian Edelman. A couple times here and there, but he was a guy that beat one-on-one coverage and benefited from having the greatest quarterback to ever walk on this planet as his guy. Okay? And like I said in my podcast yesterday, on episode 69 of the Ringers podcast, I said Julian Edelman, I would not be surprised. I'm still not going to be surprised if he comes out of retirement with an asterisk this summer and joins Tampa Bay for one more year. I wouldn't be surprised if Gronk and Brady recruit him to Tampa, especially if they don't re-sign Antonio Brown. I could see him going to Tampa Bay, right? Have him and Scotty Miller run the slot, and then Evans and Godwin on the outside and Gronk in the middle. That would be good for Tom Brady, right? So listen, he played a great role for the New England Patriots. He was a clutch player. He made some big-time plays in the Super Bowl. That catch, won Super Bowl MVP, all that. But just... it's almost a laughable argument. It's ridiculous, right? If he played for another team, let's say, like, the Jaguars, the Lions, Ravens, whatever, this wouldn't even be a discussion. It's because he played for the Patriots, he won a few rings, and he made a big catch in the Super Bowl, and it was Julian Edelman, right? No, he's not a Hall of Fame player, right? It's too easy to crown guys nowadays. Everyone thinks someone's going to the Hall of Fame. Oh, he made one play, he's going to the Hall of Fame. No. You got to have a body of work, and regular season statistics matter. This guy was nothing really in the regular season, right? He made his name in the postseason, and that's great. Hell of a career, right? He can go home and hang his 3 Super Bowl trophies up in his man cave and show people the catch he had and the MVP in the Super Bowl. That's great and dandy, right? He ain't got much to show for in the regular season, and that's exactly why it's laughable to even think about putting him in Canton, Ohio, right? It's not that easy, and we shouldn't make it that easy for a guy that didn't have that much success in the regular season. He wasn't that great of a player for Canton, Ohio, right? So that's just my opinion. I think it's laughable that people are putting Julian Edelman in the Hall of Fame. He's definitely not a Hall of Famer, but I didn't want to do this today. I didn't want to come on here and say, oh, Julian Edelman's not a Hall of Famer. No. We should be congratulating him on a hell of a career, right? Longevity, injuries caught up to him. Brady left. Gronk left. That era of Patriots, that's kind of ending. And, salute to him on a hell of a career. And I wouldn't be surprised if he came out of retirement and went to Tampa for a year. But, sorry, Julian, you're not a Hall of Famer, dude. No, not even close. If Heinz Ward can't get in, there's no way Julian Edelman's going to the Hall of Fame. This was episode 70 here on the Ringers Podcast. Episode 71, I'm going to discuss the big news in the NBA and devastating news for Nuggets guard Jamal Murray. Torn ACL. That's bad for basketball, bad for the Denver Nuggets, and why I think it's a big opportunity for one guy, not named Nikola Jokic, but one guy on the Denver Nuggets to really show his full potential. And we've all been waiting for this guy to show his full potential. I'll discuss that on episode 71 of the Ringers Podcast tonight. This was episode 70. why I think Julian Edelman is not going to Canton, Ohio, and we got to stop with that conversation. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you soon.